Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and welcome back to a game which we have not touched in quite a while. This is going to be Serious Sam 3, the sort of walkthrough edition. I like to think of it as that, only this one's going to be a bit different from traditional walkthrough standards. But first, an intro.
By the middle of the 21st century, having bled Earth dry, mankind was on the verge of collapse. Then a startling discovery was made. Beneath the sands of the earliest known human civilization, traces of another, even more ancient, but technologically advanced civilization are uncovered. The profound scientific implications of this discovery would lead humankind to the far reaches of the universe. Everything seemed perfect. But perfect never lasts. Without warning, the Earth was attacked by a chaotic horde of marauding aliens. Within 3 years, humankind was staring into the face of its own annihilation. In desperation, the world leaders turned to their last chance, an ancient artifact called the Time Lock. They believed this relic from a long-forgotten race was a portal to a point in ancient history and their only chance for survival. If only they knew how to turn it on.
Well, it can't be that terrible of a task, can it? I mean, all I really have to do is check the side of it and see if there's like a power button or something. Anyway, as I said, we are playing the moddable version, and you can tell because we are getting this message on the screen right now. This is Serious Sam 3 Extended. This is a mod by someone named Solais, and it makes a couple of alterations to the main campaign. For one thing, it combines the Jewel of the Nile DLC canonically within the main campaign of the game. It also adds a couple of new enemies. It makes secret weapons more mainstay in certain parts of the campaign, which is very highly acceptable in my opinion. And besides this, I just have a number of neat little mods which are also installed alongside, which basically, for me, makes this Serious Sam 3 the fun edition. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Serious Sam 3, but this is just more fun. This is just so much better in so many different ways, I've found. And we are going to be getting a start with a new campaign. Not any of these, just gonna be playing the main game, starting off in summer in Cairo. Lots of levels to cover, lots of secrets to find. This mod also has a couple of new secrets, so we'll be going after all of those. Difficulty, it's pretty self-explanatory right here, although there is one thing that's very important to note, which is in regards to the actual mod itself, which I'm playing. In Tourist and Easy mode, you can have a maximum of 300 health. In Tourist mode, your health will regenerate. In both Tourist and Easy, you will not take damage from your own explosives. Also, enemies will attack slightly slower than usual, and I think they walk and run a little bit slower as well. In any difficulty above that, you can take damage from your own explosives. Normal is a pretty good place to start. Hard is for those who are a little more experienced, and Serious, normally in Serious mode, there aren't actually any alterations to your ammo count, which is quite different for this game in particular, because in the old Serious Sam games, you'd be able to carry twice as much ammo, with the exception of Serious Sam 2, where you could already do that in pretty much any difficulty, if I recall correctly. And mental mode, the enemies will phase in and out of the world. Like, they won't necessarily be impossible to attack, but they'll be invisible half the time is kind of the best way to put it, and well, Serious mode is just kind of the best difficulty you could go with. I guess if you want the highest score, then you could probably play in mental mode, but Serious difficulty is pretty much where it's at. So, we'll be starting on that. And I will see you where the level actually begins, because there is a loading screen.
Approaching hot zone perimeter. Switch to surface scanning.
Surface scanning on. Activity nominal.
What? No hospitality today?
We have
blow off a stripper's ass right now. And I hope you got me a good present, Stone.
All right, Alpha, listen up. Bravo team was protecting a scientist in one of the old museums in Cairo, but HQ lost contact around 0900 hours.
Mensa wants to fry the Earth, and we're protecting a museum?
This guy thinks he can figure out how to power up the time lock.
Bullshit. Research don't kill aliens. Big guns do.
Whatever. Time machine or no, Bravo's out there alone. We get in there, we recon Bravo, we go home. If everything goes tits up, the professor is our top priority. Are we clear?
Clear as nar shit.
Rodriguez?
Warning. We've got incoming. Take evasive action. Breaking right. Hold on. I got it.
You'd think, you know, they have, like, seatbelts in helicopters for this sort of reason, so that way you could prevent little accidents like this. But I digress, anyway.
Let's hope they can read a map.
And here we are in the game world. You can see that there's actually a message from Natrixa right now, and if you hit enter, like I do, then you can learn about Natrixa. This unit of the computer inside Sam's brain is a little bit different in this game, in that you have no control over any of the analysis, so you kinda have to watch this thing play out, and it's pretty slow. If you want to get information on like enemies, weapons, or objectives, then just invoke Natrixa and she'll usually tell you what to do. And that's all fine and dandy, but we're probably not going to be doing too much of that anyway. But you can learn a little bit of backstory about the whole reason why she exists. Natrixa doesn't really have a personality established in this game. She's just kind of, well, I'm here. I'm a computer inside your head and I'll give you information. I'm your tactical advantage in this situation. I'm going to tell you all of these things about this enemy in a really slow manner. Speaking of enemies, there's one right here. You can take its eye out hitting E.
You ought to be more careful. You'll put an eye out.
Easy. Alright, so we're actually going to go ahead and pick up the very first secret of the game. You can see there's an outlined item in green over there. It's a little bit difficult to see from this distance, but you're gonna have to trust me on this one that it's there. The secret's a little bit different in this version. In fact, I actually had to contact the mod developer about this, because this one just hid from me entirely. I was always missing one secret and one enemy, and you'll see why that is. In the original game, if you throw this eyeball over, then that item will bounce back towards you, and it turns out to be a weapon. But in order to get the actual secrets, you have to kill the enemy with that weapon. In this game, you just want to throw the eyeball, and you want to pick up the weapon, obviously, and you'll already get that message, but you want to melee attack the Gnar, the second one that appears, and you want to repeat the exact same step. The reason we're doing this is because it spawns... Okay, apparently that wasn't good enough for the game, and the secret just didn't activate, so... yeah, the good stuff. Melee attack this guy, and throw the eyeball in the exact same direction. That, in turn, will spawn a giant brain on legs. Don't get shot by the giant brain on legs. It's not very healthy. And you don't get any more secret assistance out of that. I don't know what went wrong the first time I tried to get that secret, so just bear in mind, watch your throwing arm and just ensure that you can, pick up that secret and all that jazz. Anyway, here's a katana. Don't let the game lie to you. This is not a sledgehammer. It's a katana. Trust me.
Give me some skulls and one of these, and it's a party.
Let's listen to some dialogue.
Stone, it's Quinn. We picked up a mayday from Miller. Give me a sit rep.
The chopper's foobard. I ended up a few blocks away. I'm gonna rendezvous Alpha now.
Stone, how many times do I have to tell you to wear your seatbelt?
Eat me, Rodriguez. What's your 20?
We're in front of the museum. You know, where we're supposed to be. Where the hell are you?
Stay put. I'm on my way.
Roger that.
Behold, the only reflective surface in the game where you can actually see your character. It even works in multiplayer too, which is kind of interesting. We're walking down this building right now. We're actually missing two important secrets, which are related to the ancient art of parkour, which will probably be the art of running away from enemies in a very swift fashion. You can break down that door with your katana, and you also find a very similar door over here. I mean, curse these stupid replica doors which don't break down with katanas. This door is actually very important, but we're not going to go try and open it right now. The lock is probably jammed, as it turns out. Which wouldn't surprise me. We might very well just be playing some sort of Silent Hill game where all of the doors just simply don't work. Anyway, we're gonna run back outside and we're going to go ahead and jump over to that building over there because there's another secret sledge katana. Trust me, it's a katana. Now, this next secret can be a little bit fidgety to work with. You want to land somewhere over on this building right over here, and you want to jump over to that ledge on the opposite side and pick up a box of secret shells. If you fall down here, you'll take a ton of damage. Once again, falling damage makes its appearance in the Serious Sam games, which was normally quite rare for Serious Sam 2 in the HD remakes of the classic games, but it's back here. It's not really fun, but thankfully we only took 2 damage here. It can be pretty inconsistent at times, especially like, if you fall off of that top building, you'll just die instantly. But we fell, like, only about half of that distance and we only took 2 damage. Like, I don't understand how it adds up. We're gonna go take a look at this secret right here. Behind this wall is a guy who doesn't have a heart, because we stole it away from him. We also found some secret shells, which is pretty neat. You want to approach this dumpster, because inside contains a little pair of secret keys. Now we're going to run back up the building, which we just exited from, and we are going to use those secret keys on the door which we encountered earlier, which is non-breakable for some odd reason. I don't understand why we can't just break it open, but you know how this game is. And there's a rocket launcher inside. The rocket launcher probably looks a little bit different right now. This is another mod that I have installed. It makes the rocket launcher look nice and retro, because the new one is just kind of bland and unimaginative. Just like most of the color palette in this game, I am using a different light, like a different color setting, which would be vivid graphics. It makes everything look just a lot more appealing and more Serious Sam-ish in this apocalyptic environment, so I'm just gonna be doing that. Anyway, over here is a Gnar. It's smaller and it's purple. It's a male Gnar. Just like the classic Serious Sam games. They won't really contribute to much, but they're just kind of there if you want to take a look at them and maybe smash a couple more eyeball, like Igor enemies. There's some armor up there, which you can pick up by just jumping right into this little ledge. It can be pretty fidgety to get, but thanks to the way items work in this game, you can pick up like certain objects on the opposite side of the wall. You can just sometimes pick them up, and enemies can also see you through walls, which I'm not really sure if that's supposed to be a feature or if it's a bug, but it's there.
What are you looking at?
There's also that guy. You can kill him if you cheat a cannon into this level if you so desperately desire, but he's not really one of the enemies that actually counts towards anything. There's a wanted poster right here too.
Serious.
And over here is one of the enemies that actually knows how to break down walls, but I think we actually killed him before the animation could actually play, but you know how it is. And here's some graffiti which you can also read.
Much better.
I'm not going to read all the graffiti. There's also another set of sort of objects which you can read. They're like ancient Egyptian tablets. I'm not going to bother with those. In the main game, if you're like playing the unmodded version, then you get an achievement for reading all of those, but I'm not playing that version, so it's pretty pointless for me to read them. Considering all the mods I already have installed, like you can see, we're not really supposed to have a katana right now, but we do. Also, something that was added to Serious Sam 3 Extended are these mental flags, which you could actually see in like the very first trailer of the game. Like, when this game was first announced, they actually showed these off in some of the footage, and they just weren't present in the game at all, but the mod developer actually added them back in, which is a pretty nice touch, and they even have a couple of win physics. So if you want to speedrun this level, you can just jump onto this table and then you could jump over that bar, but I'm not really exactly going to do that because there's health items in this direction, and I find health items to be a lot more valuable. You know, pills here. Gotta grab all of the pills in the world, and I don't know why that Gnar didn't see me. Normally that Gnar is supposed to notice me immediately, but she decided not to. Here's some, here's another health bottle, which is apparently secret for some odd reason. It spawns 3 Gnars. They're not exactly your friends, but you know, you do best with how you serve your guests in this game is that you slice them up with a sword, because, you know, Sam doesn't really know much other from shooting everything that moves, and that's probably why there aren't exactly NPCs in this game, like friendly ones at the least. Here's another Gnar. There's some actual interesting graffiti which you can read. Do Gnars dream of exploding sheep? Do androids dream of like electric sheep? Pretty sure we've already proven that in the Talos principle. if you even watched my playthrough of that game, and if you've watched a playthrough of somebody else in that game, then you probably get the general gist of it.
Stone, come in. Where are you?
Rodriguez, I told you, I'll be there in a minute.
It's Jones. Rodriguez took. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh, shit.
Now that is a familiar sound which we have not heard in quite a long time in this channel. So we could progress with the actual game, but there's, in all seriousness, a secret up this stairwell. And you want to jump these couple of stairs and avoid falling into this hole because you'll fall another floor down. I don't know why that's there. Probably to prevent you from picking up this pair of shoes, which is actually sort of an unlockable outfit for like multiplayer character skins. And I think in the original game, it actually changes your model instantly, so that way you have little red sneakers. And they removed those off of Sam's main model for this game for some odd reason, but you know, you can get them using that secret area. There's a purple guy over there. We're not going to attack him, however, because there's a secret over here. This level, counting the secrets that were added in the mod, there's 19 secrets. It's kind of absurd the amount of secrecy they tried to hide in this whole level. Sam will also say smashing if you kill this guy with your katana. He doesn't say anything if you kill him with other means. So if you want to hear those glorious one-liners, then it's probably best that you use your katana on that dude. You'll probably gain a few experience points off of it too. We can chase our dreams and explode for glory. I want you to direct your attention to that building out there. That building is pretty special. In the original game, if you shoot that building with your secret shotgun, it implodes. Like, it's just instantly gone as soon as you shoot it. In this game, that doesn't really work. But if you shoot with a rocket, for instance, I'm just going to quick save right now and show this off. It basically has the exact same effect. And I'm not really sure what causes this, but it's always amusing to me no matter how many times I witness it occur. But obviously we just wasted a rocket and I'd rather not do that, so I will see you in a different time dimension. So we're gonna pretend that didn't just occur and that building is indeed still standing, fragile as it might be. Before we actually cause that building to be destroyed by a spaceship that appears up there, it's pretty rad, we're gonna go into this corridor over here, which has this 10 health power-up. This 10 health power-up is actually pretty rude. In fact, the best way to go about this is just kind of run along with it, and hope to God that you do not get hit by these two guys. The clear skeletons have returned and they're out for vengeance with their super flying leaping powers. You could also tear their heads off with a melee attack, and you know, we might as well just dispose of this real quick. Like, we've littered enough of the streets as is with Gnar guts, so might as well be courteous from time to time. I don't know, you could come across another tourist that's around here and you'll look at all this debris and everything. Thank God there aren't any body parts of aliens around here, otherwise, worst vacation spot ever. Here's that spaceship I was talking about. You can watch it destroy this building. Of course, this is entirely pointless if you destroyed the building yourself with a rocket, but you know, you can watch it happen a little more fancily. I mean, this one actually has a visual effect. The debris won't hurt you, so do not worry about that, but I like to think that I can harm you, so I might have just taken about 15 damage from that rock that just smashed me in the face. And as that building collapses, it's on a bit of a timer for the next couple of enemies to spawn, but we get to see more of those purple dudes. They're also joined by their second cousins, which are the red dudes. The red dudes are firecrackers. These guys are rocketeers. And the rocketeers, nothing new, they're pretty useless enemies all in all. The firecrackers are actually a little more interesting because they shoot 5 projectiles, but they travel on the ground so you can jump to avoid them. And that's all fine and dandy stuff. And of course the Gnars will continue with their punching attacks, which aren't exactly effective. It'd be pretty interesting if they could actually like bite you to inflict more damage, but that's just not present in this game at all. Gnars, the only thing you really have to worry about is not being able to use like explosive weapons or any heavier artillery on them. In fact, it just kind of gives you more of an excuse to use your melee weapons. The thing that I love about Serious Sam 3 is that it makes melee weapons a lot more viable. And by doing this, you can find secret areas from time to time. It's just, if you ever want to break out a melee weapon on something like a whole horde of Gnar, you can do that because the game actually does that a lot more frequently. In the classic Serious Sam games, Gnars were kind of restricted the first couple of levels, and then they just kind of disappear forever. They sit on the back burner of the enemy account especially. It's kind of tragic in that regard, but here in this game, you get a chance to use your katana a little more often. We'll probably use them against, like, even clear skeletons, too. This right here is our Desert Eagle pistol.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Wesson, glad you could make it.
I'll explain the mechanics of the pistol very shortly. First of all, I have to go into this graffiti yard and pick up an ammo drum of Tommy gun bullets, but sadly, they are not surrendering the piano to Alex. Such a sad day. Anyway, this weapon is pretty special. This replaces the pistol entirely with a more sort of more accurate handgun. Like, the way this Magnum works is that it's got 6 shots, right? It's not weaker than the original pistol. In fact, it's more powerful. It has its own custom animations, like so. Even the sprinting animation is a little bit different, which is such a nice attention to details. It's really, this is one of the best mods you could ever download, because it's not a crappy 10-shot pistol, which just does horrible damage. And that's the Headless Kamikaze. You can kill it instantly with a pistol shot of this. Obviously, the way this is balanced out is that it's not entirely accurate, as I've said. You can still aim down sights with this, which I would recommend for most situations. And overall, it's just a lot more of a fun weapon. Just, you kind of have to strategize a little bit differently with the shots that you actually fire. And that's really just to avoid, wasting ammunition so much in very heated situations. Holding certain melee weapons or other weapons allows you to perform melee attacks, sort of like that. So if you hold a pistol or a shotgun, then Sam will kick the enemy away. But any other weapon, he'll tear that guy's heart out, and it has similar effects on other human-sized enemies, so you'll get a chance to see a demonstration of that later. Anyway, right now there are 2 Headless Kamikazes, which I missed one of them, which is kind of sad, but we have a pretty fairly accurate pistol, or Magnum rather. I should probably just continue to refer to it as a Magnum at this point onwards if I want to be really technical about things. This is just such a great weapon, I cannot stop droning on about this. Over here are a whole bunch of headless enemies which you can shoot at. There are a couple more decidedly dangerous ones that are standing on the rooftops over there. They're slightly more rare compared to the firecrackers and the rocketeers which you traditionally see. They throw bombs at you. Lots of bombs, and these bombs are actually pretty decently painful. You don't want to get shot by them. The headless bombers make an appearance once again. You'll often find them perched on these little rooftops where they have a bit more of a vantage point. They don't exactly make much noise to indicate that they're present. Their bodies also explode upon death, and that's actually a bit of a false statement, really. They drop live frag grenades once they die, so don't get too close to them, and you should be able to avoid any splash damage they inflict. But in serious mode, their bombs can actually deal quite a bit of damage, so don't get hit by those. So, we've taken care of most of these enemies right now. There's going to be a fairly big-sized amount of them within the next couple of minutes, but we need not pay them any mind. We have to find the secret yard. We've discovered the secret yard, and we've discovered a secret helmet which spawns 2 secret clear skeletons. I would prefer not to get hit by that guy, but playing on a lower frame rate just seems to have caused that. I'm gonna blame it strictly on that. And we can pick up 3 more secrets in this entire area. If you're pretty adept at your jumping skills, then you can actually just get all these secrets at once. For one thing, you have this secret shell pack, you have this secret health bottle right over here, and if we jump back and head over to this little alleyway, we can find a little bit more electricity for our invisible electricity gun. I'm just gonna grab a couple of health power-ups because I feel like it. There we go, that's a little bit more preferable. Before we spawn the next batch of enemies, we are going to pick up yet another secret, which is hidden behind these garages. There's another ammo drum with Tommy gun bullets for, yet again, our invisible Tommy gun. We don't have that Tommy gun just yet, but it will be ours in due time. Here's a very clever reference to Serious Sam in the first encounter. With a twist!
Put a sock in it.
That causes the other kamikazes to get kinda mad. Anyway, I also installed this mod that lets you kick kamikazes away, and it's absolutely amusing. So I highly recommend and suggest, in all of your power, to download that mod, because it's just hilarious, really. The practical value of it can be, well, debatable at best, because, chances are, if you're fighting kamikazes, there's gonna be a lot more than one, but this one kind of allows you to prevent mistakes of being blasted in the face by one if it gets too close, especially if you have this mod downloaded, which gives you a more powerful magnum instead of the pistol. And yeah, pretty entertaining all in all, but I don't know, in most situations like this, I would not recommend to use that attack. In fact, because of the fact that we only have a pistol with 6 shots in this case, it's much preferable if you stand all the way back here and kill the kamikazes like this. It's just a lot more difficult if you do it the normal way. Also, we caused the rock music to stop playing, and the enemies in this game have really odd pathfinding tendencies, as you could probably tell by now. The pathfinding in Serious Sam 3 was mostly improved, and by that I mean, enemies have very basic pathfinding capabilities, but sometimes they kinda just start running in opposite directions of where they see you. Sometimes they'll start running into walls, and it's not the most adequate AI, but it's a step up from traditional Serious Sam AI, which behaves in the same predictable manner, where if they cannot exactly locate you, they'll all just kind of run into a wall for about 15 minutes till they get bored. Anyway, the mod developer also added barrel physics with Serious Sam 3 Extended, which allows barrels to roll around like this, and they don't dissipate into thin air. It's kind of amusing. Not exactly necessary, but it's there if you want to look at it. And of course, the explosive barrels are still present. Fun fact, which is not so fun if you think about it, if you hit explosive barrels with your katana, it will explode in your face. Don't do that. There's a helicopter.
Quinn, I've got a visual on the chopper.
What's Alpha status? I lost contact.
In pieces.
God damn it. Any survivors?
Negative. And it's too hot out here to hang around. I'm heading inside to find Professor Stein.
Copy that. Watch your 6. That place is probably full of aliens.
It's about to be full of dead aliens.
It's about to be full of those dead, darn, dastardly headless people. That was a pack of non-secret shells, but here's a secret piece of armor. I don't really know what the difference is, considering the fact that, you know, I would consider shotgun shells to be continuously secret at this point, given the tradition that they've been following so far, but I suppose it doesn't matter. In this fight, again, this one can be sort of difficult with the weapons that you have right now. For one thing, all the headless rocketeers that would normally be in this situation, half of them are replaced with firecrackers, and honestly, even though the rocketeers might occasionally damage you if you're clumsy like me, I would sincerely suggest you prioritize taking out the firecrackers first, because their shots actually have a bit more of a higher chance of hitting you. So, eventually after you kill enough of these dudes, then it will start spawning kamikazes. That's bad, so don't get killed by kamikazes. I'm standing back here because it's moderately safe compared to most places in this map. Again, this again just always boils down to the argument that we have a magnum with 6 shots, which takes a little bit of extra time to reload. And this is a safety zone which I like to sort of lock myself in. It's just, you don't really have that much protection, like, these little, I don't really know what to call these right now, like, these little barriers that are set up in front of you hardly do a thing. In fact, the kamikazes just kind of tend to ignore them and they'll run right through them because there's just enough legroom for them to do that. But you're just a bit of a distance away, so that way most kamikazes cannot catch up to you instantly. And that's okay. I'm perfectly fine with this, and, well, if you're thrown into this situation, and you want to make things more difficult for yourself, then you can go stand, like, at the center of the arena. And I would honestly recommend that you actually just pack heat with the shotgun, too, because this magnum is not sufficient enough. With this shotgun, you know, we have like 42 shots with it. You might as well use them if you have the opportunity. But I think that's all of the kamikazes out of the way. Yeah, that should be. So we're gonna go ahead and shoot all these headless guys. If you just use your accurate iron sights, you can shoot these guys pretty swiftly and simply. Although I'm still getting hit because, you know, firecracker projectiles. The thing about those projectiles too is that they are traveling on the ground, but if they collide with certain objects, then they'll kind of travel over them. And they also have a tendency to travel up walls too. That's honestly not a broken tradition from the classic Serious Sam games. It's kind of done in Serious Sam HD's engine, if I recall correctly. But just be mindful that firecrackers might actually hit you a little more often than you expect. Those were a bunch of Igors, they're dead now, and here's the very first Egyptian tablet. As I said way earlier in the video, I'm going to be ignoring a majority of these because It's for an achievement mainly, and, well, we're playing the modded version, so I suspect you're also going to be playing the modded version too, because it's just much more of an improvement, I'd say. It's free real estate, after all. This mod is completely free, and it just makes the game a lot more interesting, in my opinion. So we've reached Cairo Museum, and you can invoke Nitrixa if you want to learn a bit of information. The entry point is over here if you got lost on the way there. It also spawns a couple more enemies, and this will be the official introduction of the Queer Skeletons, which you can shoot out of this window.
That one's for Jones, Bones.
And it takes 5 Magnum bolts to kill a single Queer Skeleton. This information can actually be pretty helpful because, you know, it makes taking Clear Skeletons out a little bit more of a simpler task. And upon killing the third Clear Skeleton, it doesn't really matter which way you kill them, it will cause the secret Arc de Triomphe to be enabled. And this is probably one of the more hilarious, yet quite possibly one of the rudest secrets in any serious Sam game. Run through the Arc, and you meet the welcoming committee. These guys right over here. You definitely want to sprint away from that general area, otherwise you run the risk of being exploded in the face, which is not great. But those should pretty much be all the enemies and all the secrets of this entire level complete. We can make our exit out of this level a little bit more interesting by shooting the explosive barrels around the area. Doesn't really amount to much, but it's something you can do. And we reach the doorway. The ever-fabled doorway. I'm just gonna leave.
Time to do a little research.
Oh yes, it's all part of the science project. And that was summer in Cairo. We got all the kills, we got all the secrets. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be going after all of the kills in this playthrough. Chances are I'll be going after all of the ones I can strictly remember, but not necessarily all of those that exist. There were 19 secrets in this level, bear in mind, and granted, the secret count does reduce. It does diminish over time, and, well, the secrets are a little more evenly spaced out. It's just, this one kind of teaches you to, you know, look out for those sorts of things. But I guess the next time we play, we'll actually go right into the spider's nest. But until then, I hope you guys are going to enjoy this new playthrough of modded Serious Sam 3. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day or evening. And I guess I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.